Hello, I'm Claudia Kay and welcome back to my channel. So, this was not the video that I had planned for today. I was going to tell you all about my awesome day trip this weekend with my niece and her boyfriend to see a mid-century modern warehouse. It was amazing, and I will make a video about that and the haul from this weekend sometime later this week. But something more important has come up. So we are going to talk about something that nobody likes to talk about, and that is money. Money. No one likes to talk about this. I know my parents' generation it was gauche to talk about money. You did not talk about money. And my parents never talked about their incomes or the cost of our house or things like that. When I was growing up and when I moved out, I had no idea. And my ex-husband and I could never the main thing that we fought about was money, unfortunately, which wasn't even our real problem. But that's the thing that we fought about was money. And every family has a different way of dealing with money, and a lot of families never talk about it. And so I talked about money with my kids, and they knew our budget, and they knew how much things cost, and they had a sense of reality about money when they moved out of the house. And they didn't move out on their own and go, well, I have to pay for utilities. Like, they knew you had to pay for utilities and insurance. And so I tried to be more open with them about money. But I know even people, as young as my children, in their early 20s, have partners who one handles all the money and the other one has no idea what's going on financially. So it's not just a generational thing. Money is a difficult subject, and it's something that people don't like to talk about. And there are two reasons I'm talking about this today. So I was in Goodwill this weekend, and it's a Goodwill that I'm in frequently, but I had not been in this Goodwill in a few weeks because I haven't been sourcing much because it's garage sale season. And I like to purchase from garage sales more than thrift stores when I can. So I was in there, and even though I don't sell a lot of mugs, of course I always look through. Everyone knows how much I love mugs. Love my coffee. I love a good mug. I love a good hand feel on a good mug. So I always look at the mugs. The mugs have increased at our local Goodwill from 50 cents to $1. That's a 100% increase. And I'm like, everything went up to $1, and I checked them all. They were all $1. Where 3 weeks ago, there were still mugs that were 50 cents. So I started looking at other things. And sure enough, figurines had doubled also in price. So right there, that means we as resellers are going to have to raise our prices. And the cost of gas in Ohio, we're almost at $5 now a gallon. And I know that places like California have been at $5 a gallon. I think, is it New York? Lots of places have already been at $5 a gallon. So but for us, we hadn't been, and we almost are. So again, anytime that we have to leave the house, it's costing us more money to just start the car than it was last year. So, things are expensive. So prices will have to go up. So if you've been shocked at the grocery store because the item you were buying last year for $3 is now $6, you have to understand that vintage prices are going to go up too, simply because our cost has gone up. And so I've listed out, and I know Michael Todd did a good video a couple weeks ago about the actual cost and how much he was making on an item. He picked up an item from Goodwill, recorded how much he paid for it, and then he showed how much he paid for it in resale, and he told you about the cost of packaging and the time that it took to source it and the time it took to drop it off the post office, which all cost stuff. So I've broken it down so it's just to give you a realistic idea, because maybe you don't know. Maybe you're like, well, they got that item for 50 cents. Why do I have to pay $8 for it? So first off, like I said, cost of gas right out the door. As soon as you start your car, we are paying more to source because of the cost of gas. And I'm going to include in, I've got a whole list, I'm going to include in here time, because time is money. And for those of us doing this full time, we're not getting paid an hourly rate or even a salary like we would be if we were working for someone else. So our time is money, even more so than someone who's not doing this full time and this is their only income. So first, your cost of gas to source. You've already spent money just starting that car and driving out of the driveway. But your time to source. And some days you go out sourcing and you come home with nothing. But you still need to pay yourself for that time. You spent that time working, but you weren't making any money. You didn't buy an item that you can resell. So now you're in the negative on your cost. So if you do find items, there's just the cost of the item. And then when you get home, the cost to clean the items. So your cleaning products and your cleaning supplies, your rags, your scrubbies, your baking soda. I use a lot of baking soda because I buy a lot of glass. I clean a lot of glass. I want it to be pretty and shiny. And there again, time is money. So the time that you spent cleaning the item. After you've cleaned the item, then you have to research. You have to enter it into inventory. You have to research it to know that you're charging the correct price. And you have to research it so you can tell everybody something about the item. So you know what you're talking about. And in the very beginning, there were items that I thought I had researched fully and had not, and mislabeled and was called out on. And so we want to always be as accurate as possible when we are selling. So there's the time again. And then there's the cost of resources for researching. So WorthPoint, you cannot go on WorthPoint unless you have a subscription. The subscription costs money every month to have that resource. So some of the resources are free. eBay is free. A lot of Google is free, although some of the Google links will lead you to something that you need to pay for in order to get the information. But to get the most accurate information, sometimes you have to pay for it, and those are things like WorthPoint. You also have to pay for reference books. Truly accurate information is going to come out of good reference books, which you've also had to pay for. So you've got cost of resources. And, all of that is time. Time is money. Then you've got the cost of the live. So your Wi-Fi, your camera, your phone if you're using your phone, your laptop, your iPad, and then your StreamYard subscription. Because StreamYard gives you so many hours free, but after that you have to pay for a subscription. So most resellers are paying for the subscription to StreamYard. So there again, lots of costs, but also time. So leading up to a sale, we advertise. We'll make up little videos showing what we're going to have. We put it on Instagram. We do little shorts on Instagram. So there's a lot of time involved in all of the advertising for the sale. And when you're doing 3 sales a week like I am, that's a lot of advertising to do, especially when you're trying to come up with something cute and fun and attention grabbing and something that will get popped up in the feed because you don't want your post to be buried and nobody see it. So it's a lot of time and effort that goes into advertising for the sales. And then the actual time it takes to do the live. So like me, I'm doing 3 on my channel every week, which you have to set up the StreamYard if you're the one hosting and send that out. So there's more time. You get on a little bit before so that the person that is guesting on your channel can get on and make sure you're not going to have any Wi-Fi issues. So you can work those out before you go live. And then there's usually a little bit of a wrap up with the person afterwards. So even if I'm only live for an hour, hour 15, 2 hours, if it's a Thursday night, there's still time before and time after that went into that. So, all total, then we're looking at 2 to 3 hours that went into that live, even if I wasn't live for 2 to 3 hours. And then after the live, if people have been kind enough to purchase, which is the whole point of all of these costs so far, and time, then you have the cost of packaging. I have all of my friends and families saving boxes and packing materials for me, and I still have to buy bubble wrap from Bubble Boy, and I still buy boxes from Uline. And Uline, on average, if I do an order of various boxes from the little to the big, if you average out the cost of all of the boxes, because the little ones are going to be far cheaper than the big ones, but if you average the cost of the whole order, boxes are $1. That's what the whole order averages out to. So cost average of a box is $1. So if I don't source the boxes for free from friends and family, which even though everyone is saving me boxes, sometimes it's still not enough, that is $1 right there that is going into just the box. And then you've got your packing paper, you've got your bubble wrap. So all of that, definitely a big time cost there just in shipping out materials. And when, like me, you ship a ton of glass, it's a lot of packing materials. That's a lot of cost. And then the time to pack an invoice. So there's a lot of time is money, time in the packing and the invoicing to make sure that all of these things go out beautifully represented. Now, I do like to do the little extras where I do ribbons, and I've talked about it before, but all of those ribbons I thrifted because those are the things that very commonly end up in the landfill, and so I like to save things like that from the landfill. It makes the package look pretty. You feel like you're opening a present when you open it. So I do spend a little bit of extra money on ribbons and things like that, but I thrift them all. So I get the great big bags from my local thrift store that'll have, like 5 things of ribbon in it for $3. So, I mean, the cost of ribbon is tiny, but I like to do the little extra. Now, if they stopped getting ribbon donated and I stopped being able to buy it cheap, probably wouldn't be able to do cute packaging anymore. So then after you have packed and invoiced, then you have the time in printing labels, which there again, printer ink, labels, and your printer if you didn't own a printer before you started this. So 3 more things that cost. And if everybody pays on time, then you get all of your labels done, get everything ready to go to the post office. If everybody doesn't pay on time or you don't get everybody's info, then you waste time tracking down people. So time is money. That is time that could have been spent cleaning, researching, sourcing, making a video. So there again, that has cost you time if you've got to track down people that did not send their info. And so after you've gotten everybody's paid, then, and another cost is PayPal takes out 1% of every single transaction that runs through PayPal. They take out 1%. So there again, more money out of our pockets. That's a PayPal expense that comes out of our pockets. So one more cost. After you get everything packed up, everything invoiced, labels slapped on the boxes, then you go to the post office. There again, you've turned on that car, you have driven out of the driveway, and it is costing you money to do that. So what I like to do, and I've talked about this before too, is on days that I do my post office run, I also like to source. And so I have a circuit that I do. So I'm using as little gas as possible because once I hit the post office downtown, there is a thrift store and an antique store that I would pass anyway as I turned back around to come back. And so oftentimes I will do that. So trying to save myself gas money there. But time to go to the post office, and now you've spent, time is money, you've spent more time. And then that's the whole circuit involved from the time that you buy something to the time that you ship it off to someone else. But there is also the cost and the time that go into making videos to make your channel relevant so more people see you, making Instagram posts, which you need to do daily. In order for Instagram to keep popping you up in the feed, you have to make daily Instagram posts. So there's more time involved in that. And I am sure that there are things that I forgot. If you're a reseller watching this, feel free to pop it below and tell me other things that cost that I forgot to talk about. But that is a lot of cost. So for a 50-cent item, for me to sell it for $8, I didn't make very much money off, because right off, just the box. So now we've taken it down to, so I'd be making $7.50 if it cost 50 cents. And then, you know, the box is $1 on average. So now we're at $6.50. And then your cost of gas, your cost of bubble wrap, your cost of paper to stuff the box with, your cost of the label and the ink, and we haven't even gotten into time, and time is money. So, I mean, that's just a realistic breakdown of why our prices are the way they are, and why I will also probably be raising my prices a bit. Not excessively, but when I have to pay twice as much for items that I'm sourcing than I did, you know, a month ago or last year, the cost of my items are going to go up. That's just, I mean, it's the math. So the other thing I wanted to talk about when talking about money is last week, and this is why a lot of us have rules. Our rules are listed in the description box below our live sales, but 30% of the people that purchased last week either didn't send their info and or didn't pay their invoice on time. 30% of the people that purchased from me last week. So that was a lot of time that I spent tracking people down to get their info. And if I didn't, and people are like, well, you said you weren't going to track people down. But if 30% of the people that purchased from me last week if I didn't track them down, I couldn't pay my electric bill. It's just simple math. This is my only job. This is my only income. So now I've had to spend time, and time is money, tracking people down who didn't pay or didn't provide their info, because if I didn't, I can't pay my electric bill. So I don't even know I'm not big enough yet that it wouldn't be a worry if although I would think that if Misty or Michael Todd had 30% of their people that didn't pay, like, that would be unheard. And that, you know, because they're bigger channels, that's a bigger amount of money. So, you know, maybe that's their mortgage they didn't get to pay, or in Michael Todd's case, his rent he didn't get to pay that month. I don't know. So I don't think that 30% of people not paying, or, you know, not providing their info for items I just think that's a terrible number. 30% of people who purchased last week didn't send their info and or did not pay their invoices within 48 hours. So it's a reminder to send your info immediately, because as the day goes on, you'll forget and you'll think you already did it. And if you do not know if the seller has your info, send it again. Never hurts my feeling to get your info sent again. And when you send it again, I check to make sure that I've got updated info, because people move, people change their email addresses with their PayPal. All kinds of things happen that are going to mean that I don't get your package to you. So always send your info, always update your info. If you move, if you change your email with PayPal, send your new email to everyone that you buy from. If you, I don't even know what other, just make sure that your info is always accurate and that you have sent it immediately. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Make sure you're sending it to the correct email address. My name, Claudia K, and K is spelled C-A-Y-E. I don't always remember to say it at the beginning of every sale, but it is underneath my picture throughout the sale, every sale. It is always right there. It is also in the description box. If afterwards you go, oh man, I can't remember what it was, any description box on any of my live sales will have my email, but my email address is also listed on just my basic YouTube, just under info. It's right there on my YouTube. So Claudia K, C-A-Y-E vintage @gmail.com. And I have started responding every time that I get info from somebody. So if you don't get a response email from me within 24 hours saying, thanks, I got your info, I didn't get your info. And it may not bounce back to you because maybe there is someone out there who's Claudia K and it's C-A-Y-E, or Claudia K and it's K-A-Y, I don't know. But if it doesn't bounce back to you, you won't know that you sent it to the wrong email address. But if you haven't gotten a confirmation from me within 24 hours that I received your info, I didn't receive your info. So be mindful of that. And if you didn't get, because it's all listed in the description box, if you didn't get your invoice, then you can always shoot me an email and go, I thought I purchased from you this week. And I can say, whoa, I sent your invoice and here's the email I sent it to. And you can say, oh no, that was the wrong email. I'm sorry, I didn't update my email. So sorry about that. Here's my current email. And just a little, if you're a reseller and you have changed your info on your YouTube channel, don't automatically assume that every other seller has gone and researched your email to see if it's changed since the last time you purchased something. You need to let your sellers know that you have changed your email. So please update your email. I can give you an example of somebody who updated her email immediately. Barbie of Punk Funk and Junk Barbie had changed her business email from what it was last year. And then the very next time that she purchased something from me, she sent me a little, hey, just a reminder, if you don't have my new email, here's my new email. That's how you do it. So make sure if you've changed your email with PayPal that you update everyone you are purchasing from so that they know that you've changed your email and you get your invoice. And the other problem that I've had lately is people canceling invoices. Now, I understand that things happen. I do. And the people that have canceled their invoices were upfront about it immediately when they knew they didn't have the finances, and I understand. And, by all means, continue to come and hang out with us on my sales. That's not the issue, but I would also like to remind you to be mindful of your own finances when you're purchasing, because as I said, 30% of people not paying would mean I couldn't pay my electric bill. And it sucks, and that's just facts. So nobody wants to talk about money. Money is a sticky subject, but none of us survive without money. It's the truth. It makes our whole society go round. So money, it's a touchy subject. None of us like to talk about it, but there it is. Well, that's all I got to say about it today. Remember, be kind. That doesn't cost you anything. Bye, guys.